Preston, do you hear that?
Hear what?
The winds of social media change are blowing.
Are you sure that's not our door?
It might be our door, actually, in all seriousness. But as much as Elon Musk is buying Twitter, we're actually going to talk about something a little bit more important.
Scams.
Scams. I mean, that being said, with Twitter being purchased by Elon Musk, there is so much happening right now that even if we tried to do a show about that, odds are by tomorrow it is outdated and silly.
So we're waiting for the dust to settle a little bit on that before we deep dive it, but we are formulating our opinions. We do have some things to say about it, but later.
Yep.
Later.
And if you do want to hear some of our thoughts and just kind of progress and updates, I am going to be doing a little bit more TikTok action. So go ahead and follow us over on TikTok because that's the platform to do those cool, hot, short takes.
Absolutely. But today, we thought it was really important to talk about scams in particular. And you were especially prompted to do this.
We live in a fairly small community, and I've actually run into about 4 people that have either been scammed or been actually pretty deep into the script of a scam. And so we did want to talk about that. One of the major things that was really surprising to me, Preston, is it looks like they're actually targeting widows.
Oh, yeah.
Widows within like the last 6 months, which I've never heard that. I've never seen that. As I'm talking to people, though, that isn't just like internet hearsay. Like, this is real. I'm interacting and engaging with these people on a pretty regular basis. And these are scams that have been around for years and years. Like, Preston, have you ever watched Kitboga?
Yes. He's beautiful. Shameless.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kitboga is another YouTuber on the platform. He basically just like does voice changing and walks people through the scam while kind of exposing the script, exposing the high pressure, exposing the tactics, and really what a scammer is trying to do in the moment. But he'll sit and do this for like hours with these scammers. And the number one, the scam that we've been seeing is the Amazon scam. Preston, have you seen that one before?
I'm familiar with it, but I haven't heard the script.
So typically they'll say, hey, we're calling from Amazon. Your account either has purchased a like new phone, new Apple Watch, or basically a high price item that's over $600, $800. Or they'll say, hey, someone is made a fake profile of you using your information and is buying items with your information. And so they kind of come at it from like a fraud prevention angle. And typically what they'll do is they'll say, hey, we're with Amazon, this has happened, this has occurred. Let me remote into your computer to kind of confirm and see if people still have access to your computer. Then they'll pull up like a command prompt, and really it's just a black box, like the hacker box. And they'll have fake scans running in the background to fool you into believing that, oh yes, your IP ports are exposed to everybody. There's a lot that we could dive into. There's a lot of little nuances. But at this point, I would say if they do ask for access into your account or into your computer, just say no. Hang up the phone and call Amazon back. Because I promise you, Amazon doesn't call you.
The responsibility for whether or not high-priced items have been purchased, unfortunately, is on you. Amazon will not call you. There are very few instances outside of like maybe an issue with a delivery that's happened that someone from Amazon will reach out to you over the phone. If anything, it's going to be an email. However, email isn't necessarily as safe either. Like outside of a regular confirmation of order email, odds are you won't even be flagged for suspicious activity. The most interesting thing with a scam like this is that if you just step back, there's no reason to Amazon to, as heartless as it sounds, care.
Yeah. No, they're excited when you spend that much money in the platform. They are ecstatic. And so they're not going to reach out. That's just not who they are. That's not their policies. The other one that we see a fair amount is the security scam. One of the common methods is what's called a ringless voicemail. they will drop a voicemail onto your mobile phone or into your home phone without the phone ever ringing once. Now, there is some FCC stuff going through where they might start regulating this, but currently it is not regulated. And so they can drop as many voicemails as they want into as many phones as they want. And they'll say, hey, you have a security subscription when you bought your new computer that is about to expire. We'd like to renew. And they will try and do like a $400 renew. And there's upsells. They'll do upsells for like $750 or $1,500 lifetime security package for as long as you live, regardless of the computer. And there's variations of that script. Each call center will have a slight variation for what seems to work. And that being said, if you are in the process of the security scam, one of the big issues that you'll run into, or kind of big red flags, is they will pass you on to a secondary support. So they'll have someone who runs all the phone calls, and then they'll have a closer, and they'll have the closer hop on the line. And that's a very, I struggle to say a specialized person, but it's someone who is really good at pushing the high pressure environment, the emotional pull ties. It's really hard in the moment to be aware, but the moment you get pushed on to a second tier support, that you should know that is a scam at that point.
Yeah, and even outside of these, there are a lot of phone specific ones that take a lot of different and familiar forms. The IRS is a huge one. If somebody calls you saying they're from the IRS, like, there's a lot of ways you can push back because it's public information versus private. How do you know? And anything from the IRS, you should receive like a letter in the mail. Yeah. If something big has happened, odds are no, you're not qualified for an audit because that's not how they run audits. You're not going to get a random phone call from a person. Medicare, that's one that we've gotten in our office a lot recently of, hey, are you interested in Medicare support? There's no information, there's no backlogs, not even an introduction of a department or who they're with, which is the big one. It's like they'll vaguely say who they are, but if you press a little bit, either they'll have a fake identity that is something that doesn't make any sense, or they won't answer at all. That's a red flag of just, okay, are you interested in additional Medicare benefits? Nobody in our office, I think, qualifies for any of this, which is another, it's like you didn't do your research, but no. An interesting one that we dealt with a while ago, and it does tend to come back into circulation every now and then, is Google My Business. It's one we dealt with a while ago where they were upselling people into these packages that were basically like a standard web design package. Yeah. But the main central feature was, well, we'll pay you to finish up setting up your Google My Business profile. That is something you can do on your own for $0. So if you're paying $400 to make sure that your Google My Business is taken care of, you may have been swindled a little bit. Outside of that, one of the last things we wanted to cover is that phone call is rampant right now. I think there's now this culture of people don't really answer their phones because a lot of the time it is spam. But email is just as dangerous, if not more so in some cases. And our special word of the day we'll end with is called phishing. Not the fun recreational fishing of which many people enjoy, but the PHISH phishing, where people will email you, they will send you okay, click this link to check your status, or hey, we're concerned, very similar themes of your Amazon account has been compromised. Click on this link to verify.
Yeah, to log in and verify, because they need that username and password. Amazon's been having that happen. PayPal has had that happen. Citrix we've seen a couple of those come through, and they'll use the PayPal and Amazon branding to look super legitimate. Usually if you hover on the email address and the name, usually it's going to be PayPal misspelled or PayPal.id. There's a lot of ways that they'll try and cover it. But if you're vigilant with it, you should be able to spot the difference visually. The other issue that we've seen, and I say we have seen, is organizations that have been hacked and have had basically an email and password breached. And so then you have a third-party person in the email. Now, they might not do anything immediately. Sometimes they will wait. But then when the right time comes, they'll send out a blast saying, oh, hey, actually, go ahead and I made this report for you, my customer, coming from Bob. Go ahead, click on it, log into the portal, and you can view your report. There's some variations to it, but there are some times that a hack will occur and an organization might not know it for a while. Linus Tech Tips actually just featured this. I think within the last 2 weeks, he actually had a pretty major one that was exactly that. There was someone had hacked into, I think it was like a landscaper's email account and waited for the right opportunity in the business deal saying, great, let's move forward. Wire the money to this account. And it came from Bob at Landscaping Company. And you've been emailing with Bob. And they just slid it in at the right time. That one's a hard one. Like, that's not necessarily like, you can do all the vigilance, and that one's a tough one. And thankfully, your banks, local law enforcement can help. For us, this really is a PSA. This is on our hearts because we live in a community where we care about our people.
Yeah.
And if we are seeing this, we want to alert people that you need to be careful.
And we care about you too. So an immediate action step, especially like right now, if you know or are aware of yourself or anybody that has encountered any kind of these scams, you need to change your password on whatever it is, and that specific password anywhere else it appears or anything that's similar. So if you have your I love cats 1234 and your I love cats 4567 and it's everything you use, and you are like even adjacently involved in an email phishing scam, you need to change your password radically. So whether it's write it down, you use a tool like LastPass or 1Password that generates those stronger passwords for you, we highly recommend it because this stuff is dangerous. Like that, they can take your data, your identity, bank information, your socials if you're not careful. Like, as much as the internet is a bright joy and a very good use in our time, it's also very dangerous and can, if you're not careful, it can cause some damage.
And that's for today's show. I know it's a little bit different than our usual weekly social. Like I said, next week we are going to talk more about the Twitter action that's occurring. We are excited. We have some thoughts. Check us out over on TikTok, but feel free on YouTube to please hit subscribe, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up. If you have questions about this, we don't have all the answers, but we can direct you to the places that have all the right answers. So thank you so much, and
Bye-bye.
bye.